we are going to see about reading skills. In corporate communication, this is the major skills which one should have. Reading is a complex cognitive process of decoding symbols to derive some kind of meaning. Okay, it is actually a form of language process when you are able to success in this process is measured as a reading any comprehension statement or a word. There are many definitions of a reading skill. So here Jack Bowack is saying that there are different forms and each form has its own way. So all Memsi was the workers. You can see here this statement. When you read it, I would request you to read before I start. It isn't as if the words are difficult to identify or understand, but the spaces make us pass between words, which means your reading is not fluent. What is reading? As C. Nectal says, reading means getting out of text as near as possible to the message that has been put in by the writer. So we are trying to lead a person to interact and gain meaning from the written language. So in order to do so, you will need to understand, interpret, meaning, sense. Then you will try to decode and decipher and identify. So you will try to articulate, speak and pronounce the words which you read. So this is how you improve your reading skill. As C.C. Fry says that in reading, the student is developing considerable range of habitual response to a specific set of patterns for a graphic spaces. There is another definition said by N. Anderson, who says that reading is an active fluent process which involves a reader and reading material in building meaning. It is said that each one of us which we are trying to communicate, we are trying to communicate with different forms. So reading someone's message where we are trying to decode the written language and the text in different forms or different symbols. We are trying to summarize, we are trying to discover new things by enabling how we are educated, how we get interested towards a particular thinking. It helps to develop the mind, imagination and create and try to improve our written and spoken as well. John Greenwood is trying to give us the two different aspects or the level of reading. So first one here is a basic, he trying to tell the visual task. A basically visual task that of deciphering means decoding the mark on the page. The brain receives the signal from the eye. This mechanical level includes the eye movement from left to right or right to left, and then the cognitive task is nothing but that interpreting the visual information so that one is not simply darking at the print, whereas we are concerned with the thinking skills also, which is reconstructing takes place in the reading mind. He attempts to build up the meaning the writer has in the mind and when he wrote the text. So he's trying to say there are two different levels of reading, that is visual task which you see visually in your eyes from left to right or right to left, and then you try to visualize that information and then try to interpret what you read. There are different models of reading process. One is bottom to top, top to down. That is what is called as an interactive model. So bottom up is nothing but emphasize the written or printed text. So it says that reading is the form of having a model, okay, which says reading is driven by the process that results in meaning. That is, it could be words or reading in and driven by the text or the process from part to the whole. It's nothing but you're trying to have a small content, one word, and then trying to build up a story on that one content. You have one word, okay, you have only one word and you're trying to build a story on that particular one word. For example, is the coronavirus. So when I tell this particular word, you have an additional other word called COVID-19. So you will not restrict to these two words. You will start building a story and then it becomes an essay, then it becomes an article or a book. So that's how you build up a story from bottom to top. So bottom up is nothing but from one word to the whole conceptual text. Okay. Then is about top down. Top down emphasize the opposite, the reverse formula for the bottom up. Okay, so here it emphasizes the reader bring to the text means it from the whole to the one point. I told the whole story of one entrepreneur. Okay, I told the complete one story about an entrepreneur, and then when your friend who is absent today is asking, okay, what did ma'am taught yesterday? About an entrepreneur, that's all. So it brings out one part of the whole story which I convey. That becomes a top down model. This is nothing but the interactive model. You are trying to recognize the interaction of bottom up and top down process, which is with the whole process you will be using it throughout the reading process. So you have a direction here. Directions in essence, I have a passage or the story which is going to be there. So read the following, the next slide, and then you need to say through, you just go through once. So when you finish it, look away from the, you just pause this video and then start writing the story which you read. So you need to just, you should not read the story again, but you need to write the story by passing this video. So it's just a small activity which will help you to understand the reading skills. So here is a form, the story, which is you just need to read the complete story of a boat in the basement. So you just need to read the complete story. Now you can pass it and read the complete story. So now you have come back, probably writing your story in your book. When you were reading the story, you were having that in the mind that I should read and write. So maybe you would have missed these words, that is boat, boot. Okay, the is 2 times, and here it is about a woman, but still he. Boat, apart, should, off. Right? So these are the words which you missed out in the hurry that you need to write. You need to know the content. So your eyes is a tool of a brain. The brain tells them where to look, what to look for. It decides what to attend to and use from what the eyes reports. When the brain says, go back and check the word again, okay, your eyes say that is already recorded. Your reading skills will improve. Okay, your reading skills will improve only when you are keep reading different forms. It could be of newspaper or book or your subject related, anything which you are start reading things. Your reading skills will improve, and your communication, even your speaking skills, will also improve. So here I have a short story about the 6 blind men and the elephant. You can pause this and read. There are 6 people, 6 blind men here, and one person is telling that he knows the elephant, and the second is telling, how does that look? I don't know. And the third is telling that even he does not. They're going to that location and then trying to understand what is that, how is that elephant looks like. Okay, I would request you to just pause this video and go through this word by word so that you can understand what is the story is trying to tell about. So continue to the next slide now. The 6th, finally last man is trying to quarrel. All the 6 men are trying to quarrel now. They shout at each other. Okay, and now the elephant couldn't keep quiet anymore, and he said, excuse me, everybody is right. My trunk is like a snake, my tusk is like grasses, and my ears are big leaves, and my legs are like trees, my sides are like walls, and my tail is like rope. So whatever each one of them has read is right, but as per their understanding, which they try to learn. There are 2 different things. When we are reading, we do 2 different things. One is skimming, another is scanning. Skimming refers to the process of reading only main ideas that the passage is trying to say. Overall, whatever impression is about the reading, quickly read, one eyes across the whole text. You just keep reading things. You just skim. Maybe for the heading and then image, and then you look for some important text. How to skim? You read the title, read the introduction or the first paragraph, read the first sentence of every other paragraph, and read any headings or subheadings. Notice any picture or the craft or the paragraphs which is mentioned in that, and notice any the italicized or the bold face words which is mentioned in the paragraph, or you will be just reading the summary or the last paragraph. So this is what is the skimming means. We whenever you read, you will just look at the title, try to understand what it is just by the way. You will not read in depth about the text, what is the actual paragraph is. For example, is the newspaper, magazine, and the business and travel brochures. So newspaper, you quickly read the general news of the day, and then magazine, you quickly try to discover what the article is trying to say, to read in more detail. If it is good, then you will try to read more in detail. And then the business and the travel brochure, which you try to find out what is the information they are trying to say. Scanning is nothing but the reading techniques to be used when you want to find a specific information quickly. In scanning, you will have a question in your mind and you read a passage only to find the answers, ignoring the unrelated information. You'll try to quickly search for a specific or some particular pieces of the information in the text, and then you'll try to scan. So maybe you will be looking for the date, or you'll look for the information which is important, or try to articulate how the answer will be appeared and what clue you might use to help you locate the answer. For example, if you are looking for a certain date, or quickly read the paragraph looking only for the numbers, use headlines or any other. So when you're reading a paragraph, when you're reading a comprehension, you just do that only, right? You look at the answer and then look for the question, look for the complete paragraph. So the best example here is the scanning. For the scanning is what's on TV. When you look at the newspaper, immediately you look for the TV, what's there in the news, or a train or a plane, what is the schedule, or the conference guide. So everyone try to improve your reading skills. I agree. When reading skill is a stronger ability to enhance and interpret, and then you're trying to find everything, whatever you're reading, is it going to be helpful. And when you are yeah, reading, the fluent vocabulary should be strong, and then you should have some kind of inferences and intention to read towards the particular paragraphs to understand whatever you're reading. So the strong reading comprehension typically encompasses the variety of literacy skills which you have. Based on that only you can identify the meaning within the text. When you are reading some particular content, you should have the good vocabulary. Otherwise, when you are decoding, then your understanding will become uh, more of error. So whenever we are trying to make it proper, to improve the fluent or make note, and then you are unfamiliar with any kind of vocabulary, immediately you search for that meaning in the dictionary. So all these things actually determines the purpose, and then you try to summarize what you're reading and then improve your reading. So when you read, you try to take out the content and then summarize and write it in your notebook. Only then you'll improve your reading skill, because what you read and what you wrote is totally different in your notebook. Maybe one or two lines you would have written when I asked you to read a paragraph and write it down. Maybe if you would have not even attempted to write also. So describes that you are not even attempting to improve your reading skills. I would request to read more and have a note so that you can improve your reading skills. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you all.